Hi, I'm Valery Molone, leadership coach, motivational speaker. Today's topic is your family pressuring you to do something that you're not happy about? Now, in this video, I'm going to talk about what it is a family expectation, how can you deal with family expectation, and what are the benefits of not living from family expectation. Now, nobody has more experience in this than I do. Why? Because my marriage was arranged and all my life was designed by my parents. And I came from a culture that you have to listen to your parents, you have to do what they tell you, which is, good. But so I have a lot of experience on that. And I know how you feel if you are in a position that you're living from your parents' expectation and they want you to do something that you're not happy about. Choose a career, get married, starting a family, or simply the way you look, or the way you dress, or who you hang out with. So these are some of the stuff that people ask me, what can I do that I can live my free will of being myself, but yet with respect of family. So I decided to talk about this today a little bit because I have a lot of experience on this. Before I do that, make sure that you share the video, make sure you like the video, and by the way, if you have any question, make sure you write it down the bottom. Okay? I will answer your questions. So, what is a family expectation? Now, every family has some sort of a structure and rules. And you can understand that, right? As we grow, when we get married, when we start a family, we have some structure and some rules that we give our kids. We tell our kids to eat healthy, to go to school, to do good in school, to not be influenced by bad people, to be safe all the time. So some of the structure and rules that family provides is for our benefit. I mean, granted, everything, everywhere you can go, there's a rule and a structure. Even as a grown-up, when you go to college, there's a rules and instruction. You have a job. You have to have a structure, some type of rule has to go on, right? You can't go to your job and do whatever you feel like it. And the family, that applies the same thing. And also, families have tradition, wisdom, and wishes. Now here's the tricky part. Structure and rule are good for you as you're growing up, especially if you have parents that are working very hard, that are trying to raise the kids very good. That's a good thing. The minute that they hit that tradition, that wisdom, and that wishes, that's when the stuff gets a little messy. And you have to be able to differentiate that. That's what family expectations are, because they have their own wishes. They have wish that their kids wants to get married and have babies so I can have a grandkids. I want my son to be a doctor so I can tell all my friends, oh my God, like my son is a doctor, or my daughter is a lawyer, You see, that's their wishes. And their wisdom, when they give you, even though you're grown up and you're starting your own family, they come in and say, hey, listen, I want you to tell your son to do this. I want you to tell your daughter to do this. They kind of give you advice of what to do. So now it's your family, and you say to yourself, well, I really don't want to do it your way. I want to do it my way. But as a respect of family and as expectation that so far you have done what they tell you, you're kind of confused of what to do. And you're not standing for yourself to say no, because then you feel bad, you feel guilty, right? Because you're saying no to your parents. And that's what happens. And then the wishes that they have, like I said, the wishes, the tradition. Some family comes in with a lot of tradition, background tradition, especially if you're from another country. They have their own tradition. When you get married, you have to wear white, you have to wear red, or you have to have certain I can't say that, but certain type of food. But that's their tradition, and they want to pass it on to you, and they want you to pass it on to your kids. And that's when it gets like tricky. Then you're like, well, mom, that was good that you did it. That was good that grandpa did it, but I don't want to do that. And that's a family expectation. The structure, the rules are good, but when they hit their wishes, their wisdom, and the tradition, that's when it gets messy. And that's a family expectation that you have to be aware of, that you have to know what to do. With that being said, let's talk about how can you deal with family expectation. Now, one of the things that I always teach my clients and I tell people is this. Now, since I have a lot of experiences, the number one thing before you dealing with family expectation, before you say no to your family, you have to have your own identity. You have to know who you are and what is exactly that you want in your life. Now, do you want to have kids? Do you want to get married? Do you want to have, what kind of job do you want to have? What kind of house do you want to buy? What kind of person you want to be? How do you want to look? So you have to know that before you even say no to your parents, right? So if I don't know how to dress, and if I don't know what kind of career I have to choose, if I don't know if I want to have a family or not, so when my parents tell me to do this, how can I say no? Because I don't even know it myself, right? So it's very, very important to know yourself first before you reject your family expectation. Because otherwise, it's just a miscommunication and it gets to argument, and some family unfortunately separates because of this. Because they're saying that, well, I told you to do this, you didn't do it, this went wrong, and the whole thing gets all messy. So before you talk to your parents, before you get that rejection out of your head and say, well, I'm not going to do what my parents says, just sit down and think about it, who you really are. And how do you feel about yourself? What do you want from your life? That's very important to do. Number 2, when you do find out who you are, when you have your identity, make sure you're confident. See, a lot of miscommunication happens when family give you advice. You kind of go there and they tell you to do something and you're like, I'm not sure if I want to get married. Maybe, maybe not. I'm not sure if I'm going to go to college. Maybe, maybe not. I'm not sure if I want to hang out with these people. Maybe, maybe not. See, now first you have to know identity. Then you have to be very confident. So when they sit you down and when they have a conversation with you, you with the confidence say to them, no, thank you, but no thank you, Mom. I don't want to be in this college. Or I don't want to go to college. Or I don't want to be a doctor. I don't want to be a lawyer. I want to pursue my passion. Or I love that you want grandkids, but I don't want to have kids. I don't want to have that responsibility. It was great that you're a mother. It's great that you raised me, but I'm not like you. I don't want to have a kid. And that's what causes a lot of conflict between families, because not only they don't know exactly what they want, they're not confident of it. They're not going and having a confident conversation with their parents from the place of peace and respect, and confidently tell their parents what they want. Now, me as a parent, I have 2 daughters. As a parent, I give my girls advice. I tell them, like, listen, this is what I experience in life. This is what you should do. And my girls come confidently and tell me, like, no, Mom, this is what I want to do. If anything goes wrong, I will come ask you a question, but for now, I want to do what I feel like is right for me. And that's what really we should do, because not only family expectation is affecting yourself, but then eventually affects your kids as well. Because if you have those, fulfilling those expectations, some of them are ridiculous expectation, and then and that habit, and you become that person, then you're going to pass that on to your kids. And that's why a lot of kids don't get along with their family. That's why a lot of kids are not freely speaking to their parents, because either they're afraid, because they're saying that, well, my mom and my dad have a lot of restriction, have rules, their tradition, their wishes, their wisdom, and I don't know who I am. I'm not really confident of who I am, and that's the whole thing gets messed up. So it's very important to identify who you are and be confident about that identity. Number 3, to deal with family expectation is stop feeling guilty about saying no to your parents. Now, the guilt, what kills us, especially people that are coming from another country, they have a very, very strong tradition that they're obligated to take care of their parents. I know, because I am one. And that's what we were taught. We were taught that you grow up and then after that, you take care of your parents. You feed them, you bathe them, you take them places, you do everything for them, which is nothing wrong with that, but nothing wrong. But when it becomes demanding, when they're becoming demanding, like me, take care of me, they put themselves first and put all your wishes and desires aside, then it becomes a problem. So once in a while, with the respect of your family, don't be afraid to say no. Like, Mom, you raised me, And if you are confident of being a great mom that raised me the way I'm supposed to be, give me a chance to do this. Don't tell me what to do. Let me do it myself. And that's what you have to do. Stop feeling guilty. Because what we do is that we say no in a way that, first of all, we don't have our identity, know what we want. Then we're not confident. Then we're going like, what are you talking about? What are you telling me what to do? No, I don't want to do this with my daughter. I don't want to do this with my son. I don't want to buy this car. And it gets to the fighting. And then after that, you feel guilty. And you're like, oh, I shouldn't have talked to my parents like this. I shouldn't have done that. And that guilt will eat you and put you back to the place. And more importantly, your parents are going to say, well, I told you so. If you would have listened to me in the first place, you wouldn't feel this way. So don't feel guilty. If you have your reason, and if your reasons are solid, and if your reasons are good for you, and you know that it benefits you and your family, it's completely okay to say no to your parents. There's nothing wrong with that. Trust me. If anything, you give them a favor, okay? Because they're going to see how great of a person you are. You speak your mind, you live your own life, and they're going to be happy for you eventually. It's going to take a time, but eventually you will be. So that's another thing you have to keep in mind. Now, let's just talk about why not living by family expectation is good for you. What are the benefits for you? Now, number one, oh my God, you're going to be independent. You're going to be independent and you're not going to rely on your parents too much. Some kids rely on the parents way too much. Every move that they make, they go ask their parents, should I do this? Should I do this? Should I do this? And what that does to you is making you lazy. You don't know how to make your own decision. You don't know how to live with the consequence of the decision and grow as a human and learn and experience life. So it's very important, the benefit of not always living from parents' expectation, what they want you to do, because this what make you lose your own desire, your own wishes, your own dream, your own identity. So the benefit of not always listening to the parents is that you will become, as a human, very independent. And that's a good thing, because we want to grow. We want to be somebody. We wanted to do what we wanted to do. The other thing that the benefit of not living from parents' expectation is you're not going to have a stress. It's stress-free. Once you learn how to communicate effectively with your parents, not hurt their feelings, you're not going to have a stress. And why that stress comes in? When the other person is involved in your life. For example, when you get married, your partner doesn't want to hear your parents. And you can't say no to your parents, so now you're in the middleman and you are fighting the battle of this person and that person, and you're so stressed. So it's very important to know that, to communicate with your parents, communicate with your partner, know your identity, be very confident, and then make a decision, become independent, make a decision. So guess what? Now you don't have a stress, right? You're stress-free and you're going to be your own person. And to me, that was really important. To me, it was like, okay, I want to be my own person. I want to make my own mistake. I want to learn, and I want to go through the consequences of my own mistake. And that expedites my success 100 times, because I failed so much and I got up and I learned and I didn't do it again. So because I did that, I taught that to my kids. With the respect, I do still give my kids advice, but I know what they want and I trust myself, and I know that I raised them good enough that they can make their own decision. So if your parents listening to this, don't go always tell your kids what to do. And if you are a person that you're always listening to your family, and if you're very stressed because your family wants you to live from their expectation, apply these, okay? I thank you so much for watching. I hope this video helped you guys. And if you have any question, leave your question. I will be answering it. Till next time, have a great day.